Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a dynamic effort lower day. But a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click the like down below, be greatly appreciated. So I decided to pull the box and just do some speed squats against accommodating resistance. I'm happy with this because I do need to practice actually doing some back squatting right now. I was going to go for a little more specificity and use this bar, but I'm doing so much pressing the day before. My elbows and biceps and forearms just really were not happy with this. So I think what I'm going to do is do some back squats with a safety bar for a while and use the bands and chains because it'll still give me the same lower body movement patterns that I want. Because obviously it looks different when you guys see me speed squat on a box. I sit way back. I get my knees all the way behind my ankles, and this looks, again, more like really a normal squat. And I'm using a, moderate stance. It's obviously not narrow. It's still wide, but it's not super wide. Fortunately for me, you guys will probably notice I stay very upright on a low bar squat. It's easy for me to do so because of my leverages. That's why this is very similar to the style that I use when I hit that 605 on the Cambered bar. Right? I have a long torso, short femurs. Squatting comes pretty easy. But again, happy with the way that it went as I got a few sets deep. Just didn't like the way it kind of, all the inflammation from yesterday in my elbows and everything. Mainly a lot of it was forearms. Because I'm doing so much grip work and doing so much pulling and then all the pressing yesterday with the volume. Again, it just didn't like it. So I think I'm just going to use the straight bar for the heavy work on max effort day. And we'll switch over to the safety bar, I think, for a little while and just do back squats with that against chains and bands. Went with conventional today on the speed pulls, and I think, again, I'm stronger on conventional. I may just stick with conventional. I can rotate in some waves of sumo. These went really good. Wore the new shoes again that Duffin sent me. I'll review those. I chatted with him about it yesterday, actually. And so we had a chat in Messenger about it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. He sent me these shoes. He's actually working on some other stuff too, like some boots. That I'm interested in. Right? Having actual boots like this to deadlift in, I can dig it. But the speed pulls went good. Went good. I was happy with them. I was happy with them overall. And you guys will see it's going to be a similar theme on the lower days it is to upper. Less total work though. Similar idea, trying to do 5x10s. A few less exercises. Why? Because there's less muscles in the lower body. There's just less muscles. And there's more overlap. In other words, when you're pushing and pulling on upper, there isn't quite as much overlap. Triceps, pecs tend to not be used directly on the same exercises that use lats and back and so on, but delts get used heavy and everything. With the lower body, there's less total muscles. Really, there's only a handful of muscles we're worried about. Quads, hamstrings, glutes, adductors. Really all I'm overly concerned with. It's not that many muscles. They're all getting hit with a ton of volume. We're up here near the maximum recoverable volumes at this point. But again, it's moderately light work. It's going to be bodybuilding type work, really. And that's fine, because that's what I'm going to focus on for a while. I'm about to drop my calories back down here in a few weeks. The reason, even though my calories have come down and I've cut a little bit of body fat, you guys will find out soon. There's a reason I'm not trying to dramatically cut this month. After that, I'm going to need to trim down more. So I need to get myself used to transitioning all this higher workloads that I've built through GPP into hypertrophy training now. Because I did a ton of GPP for months and months this year. I was dragging my sled 7 days a week for a while. Now I'm going to mostly rest on my off days. It's going to be a lot of massaging, foam rolling, abs, low back, maybe a little grip work. Walking, that's it. I'm taking the GPP out because my training volumes are now ultra high. But they're all, I'm being very, very careful about rotating lifts. We're going to be careful about stimulus to fatigue on these movements. So what I'm trying to do, why the hip thrust? Really, the hip thrust for me is a good squat carryover. Works similar muscles to the squat, but we're working a different angle, like our peak contractions at the top. So it helps deadlift lockouts, but what does it work? Glutes, quads, some hamstring, but it's glutes first, then quads, then hamstrings. So it's giving me that bottom position from a squat. If you look at the knee angles involved and then it coming up, if you think about where your quads bend, we're hypertrophying those joint angles. So 5 sets of 10 on that, and that weight's challenging. That was actually pretty hard to get through all 5 sets on, even though it's only 405. So again, good amount of workload. Then I'm doing good mornings, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move a little different on the good mornings. Now I'm going to focus on treating them like a bodybuilding type movement, really. Everything's going to be slow, controlled. I'm not going to go super heavy anymore for a while. You know, because I got really, really strong at good mornings, and it did seem to carry over to my squat, but I feel like the strength is already there that I built for that for the squat on other supplemental lifts. Didn't improve my deadlift. My deadlift really kind of stayed the same, putting, 150 pounds on my max good mornings, adding over 100 pounds to my 10 rep sets. Because I hit 600, I was doing 225 for sets of 10 when I broke past a 600 deadlift. So I'm going to focus on rep quality. What do I want to do with these? I want to get a good hamstring stretch reflex in the hamstrings, lower back, adductors. And I want to do so in a way that's easier to recover from. I'm doing a lot of training volume. If I'm getting tons of axial loading here, it's not good. Now I want to focus on getting a nice deep range of motion, controlling the eccentric. I'm not going to go real heavy. I'm just going to focus on good rep quality, good quality sets. And I don't need to necessarily get a lot stronger on this lift. I'm not saying progressive overload doesn't matter on things, but in some cases, less is more. Meaning I got great deadlift carryover from this sort of stuff before on these. And when I went really heavy, I got good squat carryover. But I feel like that phase has kind of played out for me. As long as I can keep my back strong, I'm good as far as the squat carryover. And we keep the back strong by doing all the back work, back extensions. And it should be here. I'm kind of pissed off. My 45-degree hyper should have been here already. I'm still waiting on it. I'm still waiting on it to ship. It was supposed to ship yesterday, was the new update. So I'll have that also. I bought it weeks ago. Still waiting on it. Stuff like that, my reverse hyper, that'll give me the back strength I need. And I'm going to use that as more of a finesse movement. And it works. And then I'm not getting beat up from it. Belt squats. These I'm going to work on pushing hard. Now I'm going to work on doing a lot of volume, but I'm going to try to bring the tension up. But this doesn't beat you up. Because again, we've got the back in traction. This will build my squat back up. Because realistically speaking, I mean, that 605 cambered bar squat, if I reach that strength level back again at a lighter body weight when I finish cutting, you guys do the math of what classes you think I will be in, and then run the numbers. A camber bar is harder than a back squat. But even then, 600, 605, that's not just national record level. That's definitely world-class level. Absolutely. In most feds, that would be a world record, by the way. Now, people say, but it's not the world record. There's this one guy, or these two guys, and these other all feds that beat that. Yeah, but did they reach depth? Or those big feds? It's again, kind of questionable. Maybe, I don't know. Do we have any video footage of it? Most of the federations, though, it would be a deep world record. That's not just a 10 or 20 pound world record. It's a pretty big world record. So, again, build the muscles of the squat back up. Belt squat. helped me do that. I felt like good mornings in the belt squats before I had the machine when I was doing it the hard way, built that 605 squat. I feel like I can do it again this way, right? But I'm going to do it the easier way now. Do it the easier way now. So now we just hypertrophy everything while we continue to drop weight, build off some of that muscle memory, get leaner. Because I'm going to have to be peeled. Most of you guys figured that out by now. The weight classes I'm talking about, I'm not going to be able to walk around at 17% body fat and make weight, especially if I keep gaining muscle. So I'm going to have to be pretty lean. So that's another reason my diet's continuing to just stay on point. And again, focus is going to be body composition. I'm going to have to be competitive through sheer body composition. It means as much muscle and as low a body fat as I can stack in a weight class. All right. So again, the belt squats, so that again, we hit all the muscles of a squat other than the back. The good mornings built the back. And even then, that sort of what I'm using on those good mornings there should keep my back strong. Should keep my back strong, in addition to the other stuff that I'm doing. But then we're finishing off with glute ham raises. And again, I'm doing these now to where I'm actually going down and getting a hyperextension out of it. I can only handle about 3 sets at the moment. I want to build my work capacity up on these, but it feels like at the end of a workout, I just don't have anything left. My hamstrings can't handle it. And they start to cramp up if I'm not really careful. So 3 sets, especially if I take them, about within 1 rep of failure on the 3rd set, it's all I can take. My hamstrings cramp too much. So it's going to, again, there's some give and take here. But even then, this is a lot of work. It's speed work, and then we ended up doing 18 work sets, 18 sets of 10 for other lower body muscles. And we're doing fairly high volumes on the speed work itself. So it's a lot of workload. But again, going to maximize body composition. And this here is to finish off the hamstrings, make sure the hamstrings are fully developed. And my hamstring development's good, but it could always stand to be 1% better. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.